Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
My name is Nathaniel Thorne, but most people just call me Nat. For years, I carried a shadow, a gaping wound inflicted by the woman who birthed me, Eleanor Vance. From as far back as I can remember, her cruelty was the constant background noise of my life. Not just to me, but to my younger siblings, Sienna and Leo. I knew my older sister, Clarissa, had been taken away years before I was even born for similar monstrosities. Eleanor's temper wasn't just hot. It was a consuming inferno, fueled by her own bitterness and what I now understand was a profound, twisted sense of control. Bruises, verbal lashings, objects thrown, it was daily. I remember being 12. She broke my collarbone because I spilled a glass of water, then made me clean it up myself, weeping. When I was 20, after 2 hard-earned semesters at a community college, balancing studies with grueling part-time work, she finally snapped. I came home late, exhausted. She screamed, "Get out, you're a leech!" She called the police, claiming I threatened her and my siblings, a sick inversion of reality. I walked out that night with a duffel bag into 2 years of intermittent homelessness, scraping by, surviving on grit and the kindness of strangers. Those were dark times, I won't lie. I drank too much, made bad choices. But I found my way out, slowly, by immersing myself in digital music production, building a small following, getting a stable job. Years passed, I kept my distance. Then out of the blue, an email from Eleanor, all sweet, asking how I was. Part of me, the naive, hopeful part, wondered if she'd changed. I called. We talked for a few minutes, strained but civil. Then she asked about my lost years. I told her honestly about the homelessness, the struggle, the pain of being abandoned. And then she laughed. A short, sharp, venomous chuckle. "Homeless, that was your own fault, Nat. I never abused you." "You don't know what real hardship is." The line went dead. I hung up. My blood ran cold, then boiled. "You don't know what abuse is." That was it. The dam broke. I'd spent too long letting her destroy me from a distance. It was time. Eleanor didn't know a few crucial things. First, when I was younger and still desperately trying to earn her approval, I was the tech whiz of the house. I set up her home network, her personal file server, and all her email accounts. She never changed passwords. I still had access, silently monitoring, a ghost in her machine. Second, I knew for a fact that her well-paying position as Director of Community Relations at the Unity Alliance, a local nonprofit, was built on a lie. She claimed a master's in communications, but I knew she'd dropped out years ago. She used an old, doctored transcript. Lastly, and most importantly, from the age of 10 until I walked out, I had documented everything. Photos of bruises, audio recordings of her screaming tirades, even a video of her kicking Sienna down a short flight of stairs. It was all tucked away on an encrypted drive, mirrored to a secure cloud server, untouchable. My younger sister, Sienna, had also, in her quiet desperation, been sending me photos of her own bruises via encrypted messages after she got her first smartphone. The proof was undeniable, irrefutable. My first move was to compile every piece of evidence I had. My childhood photos, Sienna's recent ones, the audio recordings, the video. It was a digital archive of horror. I contacted Child Protective Services, CPS, under an alias, explaining the current situation with Sienna and Leo, detailing Eleanor's history of abuse, and mentioning the extensive evidence I possessed. Given previous reports about Eleanor, including Clarissa's early removal, CPS acted swiftly. Less than 24 hours later, social workers and police arrived at her doorstep. As fate would have it, Eleanor was in the middle of a screaming fit, cornering Leo when they knocked. Immediate emergency removal. Eleanor was arrested on the spot, though she was released a few hours later. I sent CPS the full encrypted dossier, ensuring they had an ironclad case. Next, Eleanor's career. The Unity Alliance prided itself on integrity. I anonymously emailed their HR department and CEO, outlining Eleanor's fraudulent claim of a master's degree and the recent child abuse charges. I included specific details about her fabricated academic history and a link to a secure, anonymous server hosting publicly available news snippets about her arrest, easily found if you knew what to look for. A comprehensive background check was initiated. Days later, she was summarily fired, not just for the fraud, but for the devastating reputational risk her arrest posed to a child-focused nonprofit. Her golden parachute dissolved. Then came the digital purge. I systematically deleted every email account, every cloud storage, every personal server access I had ever set up for her. Years of meticulously organized financial documents, contacts, digital photos, gone. Her entire digital life, her memory, eradicated. Trying to manage her affairs without any online access would be a nightmare. Finally, the coup de grace, her finances. I knew from my time managing her digital life that she had been fraudulently claiming relatives, children as dependents for years to maximize tax returns, especially after her actual children moved out or were removed. I sent an anonymous, detailed tip to the federal tax authority, complete with specific years, names, and the fraudulent deductions she claimed. The kind of detailed information only someone who lived through it could possess. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Elinor lost her children, Sienna and Leo now in foster care, though I'm working with CPS to ensure they stay together and are placed with a loving family member if possible. She lost her six-figure job, effectively blacklisted from the nonprofit sector she'd thrived in. Her reputation was in tatters. A few months later, the federal tax authority came knocking. I heard through an old acquaintance of hers that the audit was brutal, demanding years of back taxes, penalties, and interest, a sum far exceeding anything she possessed. Her house, the very place she'd made my childhood a living hell, went into foreclosure. Elinor Vance, the woman who once laughed at my homelessness, now has nothing. No children, no job, no home, burdened by insurmountable debt and facing criminal charges for abuse. She thinks it was just bad luck, a series of unfortunate events. She doesn't know it was me, Nathaniel Thorne, the boy she broke, who meticulously orchestrated her downfall. And I plan to keep it that way, a silent, unseen hand of justice until the very end.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.